An unexpected or unknown visitor often allows you to see a familiar place as if for the very first time. I'm thinking of the meter reader routing through your kitchen at 8 a.m, the Jehovah's Witness suddenly standing in your living room. Here, they seem to say, use my eyes. The focus is much keener. One night I was in my living room, trying to piece together a complex anatomical model. The body was clear plastic, a shell for the organs, which ranged in colour from bright red to a dull, liverish purple. I had just separated the digestive system when I heard a van drive up and stop in front of the house. The headlights were on high, and the road before them appeared black and perfect. After a moment or two, the driver's window rolled down, and a man stuck his head into the pool of light spilling from the porch. "Bonsoir," he called. He said it the way a man in a lifeboat might yell ahoy to a passing ship, giving the impression that he was very happy to see me. "We are looking for a particular place," the driver said. "A house we are renting with friends. I have a map. Do you think you could perhaps look at it?" I nodded and he held out his map. A Xerox of a Xerox marked with arrows and annotated in a language I did not recognise. "I think I've got something better in the house," I said. And at my invitation, he followed me indoors. I'd always thought of my main room as cheerful, but walking through the door I saw that I was mistaken. It wasn't dirty or messy, but like being awake when all decent people are fast asleep, there was something suspicious about it. I looked at the anatomical model spread out on the table. The pieces lay in the shadow of a large taxidermied chicken that seemed to be regarding them, determining which organ might be the most appetizing. The table itself was pleasant to look at, oak and hand-hewn, but the chairs surrounding it were mismatched and in various states of disrepair. On the back of one hung a towel marked with the emblem of the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office. It had been a gift, not bought personally, but still it was there, leading the eye to an adjacent daybed, upon which lay 2 copies of a sordid true crime magazine I purportedly buy to help me with my French. The cover of the latest issue pictured a young Belgian woman, a camper beaten to death with a cinder block. "Is there a serial killer in your region?" the headline asked. There seemed to be a theme developing, and everything I saw appeared to substantiate it. The almanac of guns and firearms suddenly prominent on the bookshelf, the meat cleaver lying for no apparent reason upon a photograph of our neighbour's grandchild. "It's more of a summer home," I said, and the man nodded. He was looking now at the fireplace, which was slightly taller than he was. I tend to see only the solid stone hearth and high oak mantel, but he was examining the meat hooks hanging from the clotted black interior. "Every other house we passed was dark," he said. "We've been driving for hours, just looking for someone who was awake. We saw your lights, the open door." His words were familiar from innumerable horror movies. The wayward soul announcing himself to the Count, the mad scientist, the werewolf moments before he changes. "So," the man said, "you say you have a map?" I had several, and pulled the most detailed from a drawer containing, amongst other things, a short length of rope and a novelty pen resembling a dismembered finger. Where does all this stuff come from, I asked myself. There's a low cabinet beside the table, and pushing aside the delicate skull of the baby monkey, I spread the map upon the surface, identifying the road outside the house, and then the village the man was looking for. It wasn't more than 10 miles away. The route was fairly simple, but still I offered him the map, knowing he would feel better if he could refer to it on the road. "Oh no," he said, "I couldn't." But I insisted, and I watched from the porch as he carried it down the stairs and into the idling van. "If you have any problems, you know where I live," I said. "You and your friends can spend the night here if you like. Really, I mean it. I've got plenty of beds." The man in the van waved goodbye, and then he drove down the hill, disappearing behind the neighbour's pitched roof. Without the van, its headlights, and the comforting sound of the engine, the area beyond the porch seemed menacing. The inside of the house suddenly seemed just as bad, and so I stood there. When the sun came up, I would see my home again. Go out and pick hydrangeas, a bit of life and colour. So perfect for the table. So pleasing to the eye.